Intro: silent shadows in SPA far above Earth, in the dark cold silence of space. A giant alien ship floated, hidden behind the moon. Its black surface reflected no light. It was invisible to Earth's telescopes and satellites. No human knew it was there. Inside the ship, strange glowing lights moved through the hallways. Creatures walked silently, tall, thin, with glowing blue eyes and gray skin. They did not speak with voices. They used their minds. This was the Varnax observation ship, and it had been watching Earth for over 50 years. The Council of Varnax. At the center of the ship was a round chamber. It looked like a circle of stone, floating in the air, surrounded by blue lights. 12 alien beings sat around the circle. They were the High Council of Varnax. Each member came from a different planet in the galaxy. Some had long wings, others had shining metal bodies. One looked like a ball of smoke with red eyes. But they all had one thing in common: fear of humanity. A hologram in the center of the room showed Earth. Dots of red appeared on it. Wars, pollution, nuclear bombs, growing technology. The leader of the council, High Speaker Shareth, spoke first. His voice echoed in everyone's mind. They grow faster than expected. Their weapons, their machines, their hunger for power. Earth must be destroyed. Others nodded. A large alien with scales and 4 arms said, "We gave them time, we watched. But now they are learning too much. They reached Mars. They build AI. Soon they will find us." The smoke creature whispered, "They are dangerous. They are chaotic. They must not leave their planet." A voice of disagreement. Only one voice disagreed. He sat at the far end of the circle. His armor was dark silver. His eyes glowed green. He looked powerful, calm, and ancient. This was Commander Zorthal, a warrior and explorer who had seen many planets, many species. He stood slowly. "I have watched them closely," he said. "They fight, yes. But they also love. They create music, art, beauty. They are curious, brave, and capable of peace." High Speaker Shareth narrowed his eyes. Curious, brave? That is what makes them dangerous. They will not stop. They will expand, conquer, like they did on their own world. Zortal stepped forward. "But what if they change? What if we help guide them? Destroying them may start a war of morality across the galaxy." "Not all races will agree," another council member hissed. "You speak like you admire them, Zortal." He looked directly at her. "I respect what they might become." The the council began to vote. Each member placed their hand on the circle. Lights glowed, red for destruction, blue for peace. One by one, the votes came in. Red, 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 blue, red, red, blue. At the end, 9 votes for destruction, 3 for peace. It was decided. In 90 Earth days, the invasion fleet would leave Varnax Prime and destroy Earth. Zortal did not speak. He simply stared at the hologram of Earth. A small, blue marble floating in darkness, full of life, full of stories, full of potential. "They deserve to know," he said quietly. Secret message. Later that night, while the others slept in their stasis chambers, Zortal stood alone in the ship's lower deck. In front of him floated a device, an old illegal tech from a forgotten war. A quantum pulse beacon. It could send a short message across space, even across galaxies, and no one could trace it. He entered a code. A strange buzzing sound filled the room. Then he spoke, in simple English. "To anyone on Earth who can hear this, this is not a joke. This is not a dream. They are coming. In 90 days, a war fleet will arrive. You must prepare. You must unite. And you must prove you are better than they think you are." He closed the beacon and hid it under the floor. "Let's see if they are listening," he whispered. Earth, the first signal far away, on Earth, in a cold observatory. On a snowy mountain, a young woman sat alone with a cup of coffee. Her name was Dr. Ellen Parker, 28 years old, radio astronomer. Quiet and curious. She worked late, scanning deep space signals, mostly noise, static, dead stars. But that night, something different came through, a soft sound. Like a heartbeat. Thump. Thump, thump, then a voice. Digital, robotic, but clear. They are coming, 90 days. Prove you are not a threat. Ellen dropped her coffee. She played the signal again. And again. It did not match any known satellite. It was not human-made. She recorded it. Backed it up 3 times. Sent it to a colleague in Canada. She looked up at the night sky. Who? You? She whispered. The military takes over within hours. Ellen's observatory was surrounded by black cars and men in uniforms. She was taken to a secret base. Her equipment was seized. In a dark room. A general stared at the message on a screen. This can't be real. An advisor replied, "It's coming from the moon's dark side," repeating every 40 minutes. Another officer said, "We should prepare for war. We don't negotiate with unknown threats." The general nodded. But what if? This is not a threat, but a warning? Humanity at the CRO's around the world, strange things began to happen. Astronomers heard echoes of the same message. A few governments received strange symbols in their deep space channels. A hacker found a fragment of alien code in satellite feeds. In secret rooms, world leaders whispered, "What if this is real? What if someone is watching us? What if this is our final test?" Zortel Zariseo Dings back on the alien ship. Zortel reviewed human history. Footage of people saving strangers during disasters. Videos of scientists working to cure diseases. Images of soldiers helping children in war zones. Artists painting. Peace. Children playing under the stars. He saved them in a folder called Hope. Then he saved another folder, full of war, greed, violence, and lies. That folder he named Fear. He uploaded both to a private database in case. He didn't return. Final scene. A risky move as Zortel stood in the launch bay. A small, one-man stealth pod waited. Against all rules, against orders, he planned to go to Earth himself. "They have 90 days, he said, "but maybe I can buy them a few more." As he entered the pod, a voice echoed behind him. "If you leave, you become a traitor." He turned. Xareth stood there, arms crossed. "You will not return," Shareth said coldly. Zortel replied without fear, "Then I will make sure humanity does." With that, the pod launched, disappearing into the darkness, falling silently toward Earth. Intro. Unknown message, unknown future. The Earth spun quietly in space. Cities moved. Planes flew. People laughed, worked, and slept. But none of them knew the truth. Far above their skies, a message floated in silence, a warning from another world. And it had been heard. Dr. Ellen and the SIGL inside, a secret government facility. Dr. Ellen Parker sat in a cold metal room. Her laptop was gone. Her telescope was gone. And in front of her sat 4 men in military suits. One of them, General Warren, asked again, "Tell us where the message came from." Ellen was tired. She had said it 10 times already. It wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from Mars. It came from behind the moon. It repeats every 40 minutes, and it says we're not alone. The general frowned. "And this part? They are coming in 90 days. How do you know it's real?" Ellen looked straight at him. "Because I've never seen anything like it. Not in any known pattern, satellite bounce, or interference. It was meant for us, for humanity." Decoding the MSAG in a nearby lab, top scientists played the signal over and over. It was not just sound, it had layers. Inside the frequency were data packets, strange symbols, and even visual pulses. Then someone noticed something. A short flash of images appeared when slowed down. A picture of Earth, a diagram of a giant alien ship, a countdown 89 days, 14 hours. A young technician gasped. It's not just a warning, it's a timeline. Military DIVDED at a global defense meeting. Leaders from many nations sat around a digital table. The signal had reached them all. It could no longer be denied. One country's leader stood. If this is real, we must prepare weapons, build space defenses, launch missiles. Another shook their head. If we attack first, we may provoke them. We must try to communicate. Send back a message of peace. And so Earth stood divided, war or peace, fear or hope. Meanwhile, the clock ticked down. Introducing JKE in a quiet town far from the cities, a young man named Jake Rivers returned home from military service. He had seen wars, lost friends, and wanted nothing more than peace and silence. He lived near a forest, far from noise. One evening, Jake sat by a small fire outside his cabin. The stars above him twinkled. He had no idea that soon, something would fall from the sky, something that would change his life forever. A strange object fell just after midnight. Jake saw a flash of light across the sky. At first, he thought it was a meteor. But then, it changed direction. It curved, slowed, and crashed into the woods nearby. Jake grabbed his flashlight and gun and ran toward the smoke. Trees were broken. The ground was hot. In the center of a small crater was a dark metal pod, steaming and silent. He stepped closer. The surface shimmered like water. Suddenly, it opened. First Eoncio inside the pod, something moved. A tall figure fell out. Breathing hard, its skin was dark silver. Its eyes glowed green. One leg was injured. Jake froze. The alien looked up at him. No sound, no words. But Jake heard a voice in his head. Do not fear, I am Zordal. Jake's mouth dropped. Open. You're real, the alien nodded. I bring a warning. Your world is in danger. Hiding the alien, Jake didn't know why, but he didn't shoot. He didn't run. He helped Zordal to his cabin, cleaned his wounds, and gave him water. The alien watched everything with curiosity. Zordal explained. My people, the Varnaks are coming. Most want to destroy Earth, but I believe you can change. Jake didn't believe at first. But when Zordal showed him the Council's vote, the timeline, and the secret fleet, he knew it was true. Why help? US? Jake asked. Because I see in your people something I have not seen in thousands of years, potential. The messages ding across the world. More strange things began happening. A space telescope in Chile picked up the same signal. A Chinese satellite captured a blurry shape moving behind the moon. A hacker group leaked the message online. People began to ask, is this real? Is something coming? Why now? Some called it a hoax, some panicked, some prayed. But a few people, scientists, soldiers, thinkers, began to prepare. The connection GROWS as Jake spent more time with Zordal. He noticed something strange. He could hear thoughts, feel emotions, understand languages. Zordal explained. My species use a mental connection. You are learning, adapting fast. That is dangerous, but also beautiful. They spoke about Earth's history, war, peace, love, hatred. Zordal listened, asked questions, showed emotion. Your people are young, he said, but they are not evil. Government gets involved, but things didn't stay quiet for long. A spy satellite picked up heat signals near Jake's cabin. Drones were sent. Jake noticed them first, blinking red lights in the sky. He knew the government was coming. He turned to Zordal. You need to hide. They'll take you, experiment on you. Zordal placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. No, they must see me. They must know the truth, before it is too late. Right at DAW just before sunrise, black helicopters arrived. Soldiers surrounded the cabin. Jake stood outside, hands raised. Inside, Zordal stood tall, ready. The soldiers stormed in. Gas. Lights. Shouting. Jake yelled, "Don't hurt him. He's not the enemy." But they took them both. In a cold cell, Jake sat alone. A man in a suit entered, Agent Klein from Global Defense Command. "You made contact with a non-human being." "That's treason." Jake leaned forward. "You're wasting time. He's not here to harm us, but others are coming to destroy us." Zordal speaks to Earth. Zordal was taken to a secure bunker. Scientists scanned him. Generals questioned him, but one official, Dr. Ellen Parker, who had heard the first signal, demanded he be allowed to speak. A broadcast was prepared. On screens around the world, a strange but calm alien face appeared. His words were simple. "People of Earth, I am Zordal. My kind watches you. Many believe you are dangerous, that you will destroy others as you have destroyed your own kind. I do not believe that. I believe you can be better, but you must choose. They are coming. You have 89 days. Show them you are worth saving." Then the screen went black. Reaction from Earth. The world exploded with emotion. News channels ran the message 24/7. Some people panicked, looted, ran to the mountains. Others came together, building shelters, studying the signal, calling for peace. Religious leaders called it a sign. Scientists called it a test. Politicians argued endlessly. But one thing was clear. Everything had changed. Final scene. A new ship moves far away beyond the Varnak ship in another part of space. A smaller, darker ship powered up. It was not Varnax. It belonged to a different alien race. Older, crueler, silent. They had also heard the signal. They did not care. For peace. They did not fear war. They only wanted one thing. Let humanity rise. Let them grow. When they are ready, we will take them. Intro. A storm in the SDRS far away, light years from Earth. The galaxy watched silently. Many eyes were now focused on the blue planet. Some watched with hope, others with fear, and some with hunger. The Varnax observation ship, still hidden behind the moon, sent a signal back to its homeworld. It was time for the final vote. The Council RESSMB is back on Varnax Prime. The High Council gathered again in their great chamber. The walls shimmered like starlight. The circle of leaders returned, each one more tense than before. At the center, the hologram of Earth floated again. This time, it showed new data. Zordal's unauthorized visit, the humans' reaction, the rising fear and confusion on Earth. High Speaker Shareth stood tall, his eyes cold. Zordal has broken the law, he warned the humans. He gave them hope. Another council member nodded. And now they prepare weapons. They dig shelters. They fear us. He has made them dangerous. The smoke-like being whispered, "Shall we end this now?" Zordal on Triala giant screen appeared behind the council. On it was a live feed from the observation ship near Earth. Zordal, still inside a holding cell, stood calmly. The council questioned him from across the stars. "Shareth, why did you disobey the command of the council?" Zordal, "Because I saw something worth saving." Another member, "You broke the ancient code." Zordal, "Sometimes to protect peace, one must take a risk." They paused. The room was silent. "Shareth, do you still believe humanity deserves mercy?" Zordal nodded once. "Yes, and if they fail, I will accept the consequences." Earth RESBO is back on Earth. Zordal's message was still echoing across the globe. Cities lit up with protests, peace marches, and military drills. In an underground bunker, Dr. Ellen Parker, Jake Rivers, and other top scientists worked day and night. They tried to respond to the Varnax using radio, lasers, satellites. But nothing worked. Jake paced back and forth. "What if they're not listening?" Ellen replied. "No, they're watching. Always watching, maybe. They want to see how we act, not what we say. That night, Jake wrote something on paper and looked up at the sky. If you're watching, just know, not all of us want war. Division on Eratius. Days passed, nations became divided. Some countries began building massive space weapons. Others formed peace groups, hoping to start communication. A few powerful leaders denied the signal was real at all. On news screens, debates raged. Should we trust the alien warning? Is this a trick to weaken our defenses? What if this is a test from a higher race? The world was no longer united. But something new had started. Awareness, curiosity, and fear, variance. Among Council MERS on Varnax Prime. Not all council members agreed with Shareth anymore. A member with silver feathers spoke. Perhaps we judge too fast. Humanity is young. But their mind evolves quickly. A green-skinned thinker added, they made fire, then cities, then space rockets, all in a short time. That kind of mind can grow or explode. Shareth replied, that is exactly why they are dangerous. Zortl spoke again through the feed. Every great species begins with chaos, but without a chance, they will never evolve. Vote preparation begins. The chamber dimmed. The council voting table lit up again, a circle of energy in the center of the room. 12 council members, 12 votes. 2 choices, red, destroy Earth, blue. Delay and monitor. High speaker Shareth raised his arm. Let us cast our vote. This time for the fate of an entire planet. But before the vote began, something unexpected happened. Unidentified signal DTC. An alarm rang through the chamber. A glowing red triangle blinked on the main screen. A voice from the observation ship near Earth came through. We are detecting another ship. Unknown class. Not Varnax, not human. Shareth snapped around. Show us. The screen flickered. Dark spiked ship hovered near Jupiter. It looked ancient. Its shape was unlike any known species. It sent no signal, no light, no sign of peace. One council member whispered in horror. It's them. Shareth clenched his fists. They have come early. Introducing the XRZA, the screen zoomed in. Strange red patterns moved across the enemy ship. It was alive. Or at least part of it was. These were the Zerzai, an ancient, forgotten race. Long ago, they had destroyed dozens of planets. They fed on fear, on chaos. They waited for moments of weakness, and then they struck. Shareth. We warned the Council centuries ago. If Earth is not handled, the Zerzai would return. Another council member asked, why now? Zortl's voice answered, because they sense confusion. Division, just like they always do. A shift in take Chiang King's. Suddenly, Earth was no longer just a threat. It was a target. Some council members looked at each other. Their faces changed. The Wind member said, perhaps. If we destroy Earth now, we only open the door wider for the Zerzai. Another nodded. If humanity unites, if they survive this, they might be strong enough to resist the Zerzai someday. Shareth growled. You would risk our safety. For them? Zortl replied. Not for them alone, for all of us. A strong Earth might help protect the galaxy. A dead Earth invites more darkness. The final VOTE one by one. The council approached the glowing table. Their hands hovered over the surface. Each one made a choice. The room waited in silence. At last, the lights glowed. 5 red, 7 blue. The final vote. Destroy Earth. 5 delay. And observe, 7 the council had chosen. Earth would be spared for now. But Shareth's face remained cold. You made a mistake, he said. The humans will betray us all. Back on Hun, each in the bunker, Jake looked up at the stars that night. Zortl, now out of his cell and standing beside him, placed a hand on his shoulder. They chose not to destroy, but that does not mean you are safe. Others are watching, testing, waiting. Ellen joined them. So, what happens now? Zordal looked toward the stars. Now, Earth must decide what it wants to become. Final scene. The Zerzai Movedi in the blackness of space. The Zerzai ship began to move toward Earth slowly. Inside, red shapes flickered in its darkness. A voice echoed within, deep, dry, and cruel. They argue, they delay, they hope. But they forget, hope does not stop us. And with that, the ship vanished, faster than light, heading toward Earth. Intro. A fragile PSE. The world was still spinning. People walked, worked, and dreamed. But above them, in space, something was changing. Something dark had started to move. Earth was now on a path that could not be reversed. The countdown had not stopped. There were 72 days left. Earth unites, but not HFY in secret bunkers. Countries finally began to work together. A temporary alliance was formed, the Earth Defense Coalition, EDC. Jake Rivers, now acting as a bridge between Zordal and human military forces, attended a hidden meeting deep beneath Switzerland. Leaders from across the world argued, "We need to launch defenses. No, we must build communication towers first. How do we even know this alien is telling the truth?" Jake stood and raised his voice. "The warning was real. You saw the ship near Jupiter. That thing isn't ours, and it's not Varnak's. We need to prepare, together." Dr. Ellen Parker backed him up. "We don't have time for ego. We need unity. The threat is coming from the shadows, and the shadows were moving fast. The Zerzai Peripere on the edge of the solar system. The Zerzai flagship hovered in total silence. There was no light, no signals, no noise. Inside, strange alien creatures walked through long, black corridors. Their bodies were made of armor and muscle. Their skin looked like burned stone. At the center of the ship, in a massive dark room, the Zerzai High Leader, called Korthak, stood in front of a giant sphere. Inside the sphere, images of Earth flickered. A voice echoed around him. "They are not ready. They are confused, weak, divided. But they learn. That makes them dangerous." Korthak's eyes glowed red. "Then we must strike before they unite." Zordal feels a sci-fi back on Earth. Zordal sat quietly on a cliff, watching the sunrise. The wind moved through the trees. Jake sat next to him. Zordal suddenly stood up. His breathing changed. "They're moving." Jake looked up. "The Zerzai?" Zordal nodded. "Yes, slowly, but with purpose, like wolves moving toward prey." Jake whispered, "What do we do now?" "We wake the Watchers." Earth's first RESPO in SE at Area 29, a top-secret site in Nevada. Earth's first attempt at building a space-based shield began. A massive cannon, codenamed Skyward 1, was under construction. It could fire plasma into space, if needed, but time was short. Too short. Meanwhile, Zordal worked with human engineers to install Varnak's tech inside a human drone ship. It was risky, but if successful, Earth could soon send its first real message to the galaxy. Jake watched as the hybrid ship powered up. It shook the ground as it lifted into the air. "We call her the Pathfinder," Ellen smiled. "It's a start." Meanwhile, in ORBT, the Varnak's observation ship, still behind the moon, received a new order from the Council. "Do not interfere further. Watch only." But the captain of that ship, an old friend of Zordal named Mayan Vek, watched Earth with doubt. Turned to his second-in-command. "If the Zerzai strike early, should we obey, or protect what Zordal saw in them?" No answer came. Only silence. Messages in the dark that night. Jake couldn't sleep. He sat by a computer terminal, looking at strange data from Zordal's mind connector. It was filled with symbols, thoughts, and something new, a pattern. Jake zoomed in. It was a repeating shape, like coordinates. Ellen entered the room. "What are you looking at?" Jake pointed. "I think it's a message." Not from Varnax, not from us. It's coming from the other side of the moon. Ellen frowned. But we scanned that area. It's empty, Jake said quietly. Not anymore. A hidden moon base? A small scout drone was sent to the moons. Far side. It flew quietly, past dust and shadows, and then it saw something. Not a ship, not a crater. A structure, buried under moon dust, camouflaged and pulsing with a red light. A Zerzai outpost. A forward base. The drone sent images back. Within minutes, alarms went off in Earth's command center. The general stared at the footage. They're already here. Global REVL. The footage was leaked to the public within hours. News channels exploded. Alien base found on moon? Secret war brewing above US? Is Earth already compromised? People panicked again. Protests erupted. Cities locked down. Jake, Ellen, and Zortel were called to a new emergency session with world leaders. Zortel spoke calmly. The Zerzai never announce. They do not talk. They prepare silently. They plant seeds of fear, then they attack. Jake slammed his hand on the table. Then why are we waiting? A general replied, because if we attack first, we might start the war ourselves. Ellen stood. The war has already started. You're just not fighting yet. The Shadow Fleet AWAC Ines deep in space. Other Zerzai ships began to wake up, one near Neptune, one hiding behind Saturn's rings, another in the asteroid belt. They had been sleeping, buried, and waiting for the right time. That time had come. Earth had been warned. Now it was being watched, not just by the Varnax, but by death itself. Final scene. Countdown. Sion used back. In a quiet lab, the original message played again. It had changed. The timer now read 72 days, 11 hours. 5 minutes, but below it, something new appeared. A single line of translated Varnax text. Not all shadows come from the night. The screen flickered. And the world held its breath. Intro. The first Estiarike. The clock kept ticking. 62 days left until the timer hit 0. Earth had started to prepare. Skyward weapons. The Pathfinder drone. Secret alliances. But the world didn't know. The first strike would not wait for the deadline. The enemy was already here. And they were ready. On the dark side of the Mo'o, the hidden Zerzai base on the moon was no longer silent. Its surface cracked open. Glowing red lines spread across. The rocks like veins. A strange energy pulsed upward. From deep inside, dark shapes rose. 6 ships. Each looked like a dead creature, armored, spiked, and dripping black mist. Silent, with no engines, they began to rise into orbit. Their target, Earth's sky defenses. Their mission, create fear. Burn the skies. The Varnax watch an Esseliansin, the hidden Varnax ship. Captain Mayan Vek watched the ship's launch. His second-in-command asked, "Should we alert the humans?" Mayan Vek answered with a heavy voice, "No, we were ordered not to interfere." But in his eyes, there was doubt. The Varnax had seen what the Zerzai could do. They had seen entire planets fall, and Earth was not ready. Pathfinders. WRNING in low orbit. The human Varnax hybrid drone ship, Pathfinder, picked up the signal first. Inside Earth's command center, Jake and Ellen stared at the screen. "What is that?" Jake asked. Ellen zoomed in. "Unknown ships?" "Heading toward Earth, fast, too fast." Zortel entered the room. He didn't need to ask. He already knew. "They're testing you," he said. "This is not the invasion. This is the fire before the storm." Jake looked to the generals. "We need to launch Skyward 1, now." Earth's first defense, Skyward O&E at a remote desert base. The massive plasma cannon Skyward 1 was activated for the first time. Technicians raced to get it online. Power surged. Alarms blared. The ships were entering upper atmosphere now. Skies around the world began to shift color. Dark red clouds. Strange static in the air. Animals going silent. Jake watched from a command station. Are we ready? The general nodded. Fire when locked. First CONTAs as the Zerzai ships entered Earth's airspace. They began firing beams of red energy downward, not to destroy cities, but to cause panic. Power grids failed. Satellites blacked out. Planes were grounded. One ship moved toward New York. Another hovered over Tokyo. A third over London. Then, boom! Skyward one fired. A beam of white-blue plasma shot upward. It struck the lead Zerzai ship directly. The explosion lit up the night. Humans cheered, but the celebration was short. The ship didn't fall. It absorbed the blast. Shock and PNSs at the control room. Silence fell. Jake looked pale. It didn't work. Ellen stared at the data. They evolved. They adapted. Zortel nodded grimly. That's what makes them deadly. You show them your strength, they learn. The second wave of ships started moving faster. The air around them shimmered. Now they were no longer just trying to scare. They were hunting. Global CHAOS news broadcasts around the world showed burning skies, crashing aircraft, and mass panic. People filled the streets. Some prayed. Some ran. Some looked to the sky, hoping for something to protect them. And in the middle of the chaos, the Varnak ship still waited behind the moon. Captain Mayan Vec watched one of the Zerzai ships move toward a nuclear power plant. He clenched his fist. Enough. He turned to his crew. Prepare weapons. Break the code. The Varnak's INTERVNEs. Suddenly, a flash of blue light appeared in Earth's upper atmosphere. From behind the moon, a Varnak's warship entered Earth space for the first time. Its hull was sleek. Its weapons glowed with silent power. It fired. Burst of clean energy hit the nearest Zerzai ship. This time, it worked. The alien ship shattered into black pieces and fell into the ocean. Humans around the world saw it. What was that? It's not one of ours. Is it helping us? Team up in the sky. Zertel smiled slightly. Mayan Vec broke orders. He chose to act. Jake looked hopeful. So we're not alone. Ellen whispered, this might change everything. With one Zerzai ship down, Earth's defense forces pushed harder. Jet fighters launched. Lasers fired from hidden towers. Emergency EMPs were deployed. And with the help of the Varnak ship, 2 more Zerzai ships were destroyed. But 3 remained. And they were angry. A hero failed in the battle above Europe. One Zerzai ship began spinning, unleashing a wide red pulse. It knocked out human defenses across 5 countries. In a desperate move, the Pathfinder drone was sent in, carrying Earth's last experimental plasma core. Jake and Ellen watched. As the ship flew up, if it works, it might take them down. But the ship was damaged mid-flight. Zortel made a decision, without a word. He walked to the launch chamber. Jake yelled, "What are you doing?" "Finishing what I started." He entered the pilot bay. The door sealed. Pathfinder changed course. The sacrifices are all. Flew the ship directly into the center of the 3 remaining Zerzai vessels. He sent one final message. Humanity deserves its chance. This is mine. Then impact. A massive explosion tore through the clouds. All 3 Zerzai ships were destroyed in a brilliant flash of light. The skies went quiet. Zortel was gone. Earth stares at the Skyway for a moment. There was peace. Cities stopped burning. Families came out of shelters. The world looked up and saw stars again. Jake stood outside, eyes filled with tears. He saved us. Ellen placed a hand on his shoulder. But it's not over. The message CHAs inside the global command hub. The original alien countdown appeared on screens again. This time, the numbers had updated. 62 days gives 41 days, and under it, a message in Varnak script, translated automatically. This was the first flame. The fire is still coming. Final scene, in the Dayakians far beyond Pluto, in the cold darkness of deep space. A massive Zerzai fleet began to move. Hundreds of ships, each larger than the ones before, each pulsing with red light. Inside the lead ship, Korthek spoke. "They killed our scouts. They found allies. Now we send our army," and the stars around him dimmed, as if afraid. Intro, the first Estia rake, the clock kept ticking. 62. Days left until the timer hit 0. Earth had started to prepare. Skyward weapons, the Pathfinder drone, secret alliances. But the world didn't know. The first strike would not wait for the deadline. The enemy was already here, and they were ready. On the dark side of the Moon, the hidden Zerzai base on the moon was no longer silent. Its surface cracked open. Glowing red lines spread across the rocks like veins. A strange energy pulsed upward from deep inside. Dark shapes rose. 6 ships. Each looked like a dead creature, armored, spiked, and dripping black mist. Silent, with no engines, they began to rise into orbit. Their target, Earth's sky defenses. Their mission, create fear. Burn the skies. The Varnax watch an SILENC on the hidden Varnax ship. Captain Mayan Vek watched the ship's launch. His second-in-command asked, "Should we alert the humans?" Mayan Vek answered with a heavy voice, "No, we were ordered not to interfere." But in his eyes, there was doubt. The Varnax had seen what the Zerzai could do. They had seen entire planets fall, and Earth was not ready. Pathfinders. WRNG in low orbit. The human Varnax hybrid drone ship, Pathfinder, picked up the signal first. Inside Earth's command center, Jake and Ellen stared at the screen. "What is that?" Jake asked. Ellen zoomed in. Unknown ships. Heading toward Earth, fast, too fast. Zortel entered the room. He didn't need to ask. He already knew. "They're testing you," he said. "This is not the invasion. This is the fire before the storm." Jake looked to the generals. "We need to launch Skyward 1, now." Earth's first defense, Skyward O&E at a remote desert base. The massive plasma cannon Skyward 1 was activated for the first time. Technicians raced to get it online. Power surged. Alarms blared. The ships were entering upper atmosphere now. Skies around the world began to shift color. Dark red clouds. Strange static in the air. Animals going silent. Jake watched from a command station. "Are we ready?" The general nodded. "Fire when locked." First CONTXETZI ships entered Earth's airspace. They began firing beams of red energy downward, not to destroy cities, but to cause panic. Power grids failed. Satellites blacked out. Planes were grounded. One ship moved toward New York. Another hovered over Tokyo. A third over London. Then, boom! Skyward 1 fired. A beam of white-blue plasma shot upward. It struck the lead Zerzai ship directly. The explosion lit up the night. Humans cheered. But the celebration was short. The ship didn't fall. It absorbed the blast. Shock and panic inside the control room. Silence fell. Jake looked pale. It didn't work. Ellen stared at the data. They evolved. They adapted. Zortel nodded grimly. That's what makes them deadly. You show them your strength, they learn. The second wave of ships started moving faster. The air around them shimmered. Now they were no longer just trying to scare. They were hunting. Global CHAOS news broadcasts around the world showed burning skies, crashing aircraft, and mass panic. People filled the streets. Some prayed. Some ran. Some looked to the sky, hoping for something to protect them. And in the middle of the chaos, the Varnax ship still waited behind the moon. Captain Mayenvek watched one of the Zerzai ships move toward a nuclear power plant. He clenched his fist. Enough. He turned to his crew. Prepare weapons. Break the code. The Varnax INTERVNES. Suddenly, a flash of blue light appeared in Earth's upper atmosphere. From behind the moon, a Varnax warship entered Earth space for the first time. Its hull was sleek. Its weapons glowed with silent power. It fired. Burst of clean energy hit the nearest Zerzai ship. This time, it worked. The alien ship shattered into black pieces and fell into the ocean. Humans around the world saw it. What was that? It's not one of ours. Is it helping us? Team Up in the Sky. Zertal smiled slightly. Mayanvek broke orders. He chose to act. Jake looked hopeful. So we're not alone. Ellen whispered, "This might change everything." With one Zerzai ship down, Earth's defense forces pushed harder. Jet fighters launched. Lasers fired from hidden towers. Emergency EMPs were deployed. And with the help of the Varnak ship, 2 more Zerzai ships were destroyed. But 3 remained, and they were angry. A hero failed us in the battle above Europe. One Zerzai ship began spinning, unleashing a wide, red pulse. It knocked out human defenses across 5 countries. In a desperate move, the Pathfinder drone was sent in, carrying Earth's last experimental plasma core. Jake and Ellen watched. As the ship flew up, if it works, it might take them down. But the ship was damaged mid-flight. Zortal made a decision, without a word. He walked to the launch chamber. Jake yelled, "What are you doing?" "Finishing what I started." He entered the pilot bay. The door sealed. Pathfinder changed course. The Sacrifice Ezreal flew the ship directly into the center of the 3 remaining Zerzai vessels. He sent one final message. "Humanity deserves its chance. This is mine." Then impact. A massive explosion tore through the clouds. All 3 Zerzai ships were destroyed in a brilliant flash of light. The skies went quiet. Zortal was gone. Earth stares at the SK for a moment. There was peace. Cities stopped burning. Families came out of shelters. The world looked up and saw stars again. Jake stood outside, eyes filled with tears. He saved us. Ellen placed a hand on his shoulder. But it's not over. The message CH is inside the global command hub. The original alien countdown appeared on screens again. This time, the numbers had updated. 62 days gives 41 days, and under it, a message in Varnak script, translated automatically. This was the first flame. The fire is still coming. Final scene. In the Darkans East, far beyond Pluto, in the cold darkness of deep space, a massive Zerzai fleet began to move. Hundreds of ships. Each larger than the ones before, each pulsing with red light. Inside the lead ship, Korthik spoke. "They killed our scouts. They found allies. Now we send our army." And the stars around him dimmed. As if afraid, summary of Part 5. The Zerzai launches surprise first strike. Earth's plasma cannon, Skyward One, fails. Chaos spreads globally as cities fall into panic. Varnak's Captain Mayanvek breaks orders and saves Earth. Zortal sacrifices himself to destroy the enemy ships. Earth survives the first wave. A massive Zerzai invasion fleet begins to move. Intro. The eye of the Esturan. The stars were quiet. Earth had won its first battle, but peace felt strange. It felt like standing in the center of a great storm, calm for now, but not safe. The countdown had stopped at 41 days. A new word appeared on every world screen: decision. But no one knew who would make it, or what it truly meant. Earth's new PTOch in a space lab above Earth. Scientists studied the strange data left by Zortal, the DNA code, the voice signals, the visions. Jake Rivers and Dr. Ellen Parker worked side by side, surrounded by machines, maps, and theories. "What if this isn't just knowledge?" Ellen asked. "What if it's a test?" Jake looked up. "A test for who we become." Ellen nodded. "And someone or something is watching how we choose." Back on Varnak's PRM, far away. On Varnak's Prime, the council sat in silence. The planet was quiet, almost too quiet. The silver halls echoed as the council members looked at new reports. Something had shifted in the stars. Power was rising from places unknown. Shareth, the High Speaker, broke the silence. We cannot allow the humans to rise any further. The feathered counselor responded. They have done nothing wrong. They have only survived. Exareth's eyes glowed dark blue. Exactly. They are dangerous because they adapt, because they survive. And survival makes gods bleed. The words were strange. No one in the room understood what Shareth really meant. Except one. A hidden message UNLOCKD in Earth's new space center. Jake discovered a file inside the last data packet from Zordal. It was locked with multiple layers of encryption. But suddenly, it opened by itself. A voice played. If you hear this, then the Council has lied. It was Zordal. The Zerzai were not born. They were created. Everyone in the room went still. Created by the Varnax long ago as weapons. They were made to destroy, to feed on chaos. But the Council lost control. Now they pretend the Zerzai are an enemy, but part of them still serve in secret. And one of the Council is working with them. Jake clenched his fists. A traitor. The secret Alliance Eon Varnax Prime. Shareth entered a dark chamber below the Council building. There, hidden from all others, stood a tall alien figure with glowing red eyes. It was Korthak, leader of the Zerzai. You were told not to appear here, Shareth hissed. Korthak smiled coldly. We grow impatient. The humans resist. They adapt. Shareth looked away. They won't for long. Earth still believes they have a chance. We will remove that hope. Korthak. Voice echoed in the room. And when they fall, Varnax Prime falls next. Shareth's face twitched. For the first time. He looked afraid. Jake's strange AWAK. Back on Earth, Jake began feeling strange after touching Zordal's message device. At night, he saw stars in his dreams. He heard voices from long-dead species. He began to understand languages he had never learned. Ellen grew worried. Something's happening to you. Jake whispered, I think I'm hearing the past. She scanned his mind with the Varnax memory link. What she saw shocked her. Inside Jake's mind were memories from thousands of years ago. From wars, from fallen worlds, from Varnax. From XERZAI. From Zordal. A call from BU-1 Dierz. Long-range scanner picked up a strange signal from deep space. It wasn't a warning. It was an invitation. Come, one representative, to the hollow planet. Learn the truth, or be destroyed with your ignorance. The message came with exact coordinates. To a place that didn't exist on any map. Jake made his decision. I'll go. Ellen grabbed his arm. No, it's a trap. Jake looked her in the eyes. I need to know what Zordal died trying to tell us. Journey to the hollow Pele and eat in a fast-built Varnax Earthship. Jake launched alone. The ship was small, fast, and filled with backup memories from Zordal's mind. After 2 days of travel through slipspace, Jake saw something impossible. A planet, shaped like a hollow sphere. Its surface was broken. Its skies were filled with falling light. The ship landed automatically. Jake stepped out. There was no gravity, no heat, no sound, only an ancient voice in his head. You came. The Watchers speak. He inside the planet. Jake walked through strange glowing halls. At the center he saw them. The Watchers. They were not alive, and yet not dead. Energy. Forms, living memory. Remnants of a species so old, even the Varnax feared their name. They spoke together. We saw Zordal's death. We heard Earth's choice. Now we offer you a gift. Not power, not weapons, but truth. Jake stepped forward. Why me? Because you changed. Because you believed. Because you suffered loss. And still chose hope. The true HFY the Watchers showed Jake a vision. The Varnax created the Zerzai thousands of years ago as a tool to wipe out enemies. They used them to burn entire planets. But the Zerzai evolved. They began feeding on fear, growing. Stronger, the Varnax tried to destroy them, but failed. Some Varnax leaders hid this truth and began secretly working with the Zerzai again to control the galaxy through fear. Jake felt sick. So the Council is corrupted, the Watchers replied. Not all. But one holds the key to the next war. And now, the Zerzai plan to burn not just Earth, but the Varnax too. Earth under attack AGAN while Jake was gone. Earth's skies changed again. This time, the real Zerzai fleet arrived. Ships the size of cities. Shadow beasts. Massive drills falling toward the oceans. Panic returned. But this time, humanity was ready. The EDC launched new fusion-powered jets. Varnax defenders, loyal to Zordel, helped lead the fight. Space towers fired anti-Zerzai blasts. And high above, Captain Mayanvek returned with a full Varnax battle group. For Zordel, he said. For the light he saw in humans. Gods be a lead. As the battle raged in the skies, Jake returned to Earth in a golden ship gifted by the Watchers. Inside the ship's core was a truth engine, a device that could send out a psychic wave of truth across the galaxy. Jake activated it. Pulse shot across space. It reached Varnax Prime. The council chamber. It exposed Shireth's lies, his meeting with Korthak, and his hand in creating the Zerzai. The council gasped. Xaref tried to run, but a voice boomed. You made gods bleed. Now watch your empire fall. Final scene. The DCISION back on Earth. The countdown returned on every screen. But now, instead of numbers, it simply said, you have chosen. A new light appeared in the sky. Soft, blue, powerful. From the stars. The Watchers came. For the first time in centuries. They would help, because humanity had done something rare. They had made enemies bleed. They had stood when the gods tried to crush them. They had survived the fire. Now, they were becoming something more. Something stronger, something feared. Intro. A new DAW in the skies above. Earth were different now. The fires had gone out. The shadows had fled. In their place rose a new light, soft, shining, and alive. This was no longer the Earth people knew. This was the beginning of the age. Of humans, unity in the SDRS, the Earth Defense Coalition, EDC, had grown stronger. With Varnax and Watchers by their side, humanity built ships faster, smarter, and stronger. Jake Rivers stood at the command deck of the Celestial Dawn, Earth's largest starship yet. He looked out at the stars. We have waited a long time, Jake said. Now it is our turn. The crew around him nodded. The final war Begialis, the Zerzai fleet, still powerful but fewer in number, gathered at the edge of the solar system. Their leader, Korthak, was wounded in spirit, but burning with hate. He sent one last message. You cannot stop the fire. You cannot stop us. But humanity had learned. They had changed. The battle of the solar SYS team. First shots rang out near Mars. Fusion cannons fired. Energy shields shimmered. Varnax fighters weaved through asteroid fields, battling the black Zerzai ships, Earth's newest weapons, plasma beams, and psychic shields, turned the tide. The Celestial Dawn led the charge. Jake's voice echoed through the ship. For Earth, for Zordel, for all who believe. Humanity's AWA cannon. As the battle raged, something strange happened. Soldiers and pilots began to feel new strength. Their minds sharpened. Their bodies healed faster. In the heat of battle, they moved with speed and grace like never before. The strange genetic code from Zor, Tal's message was changing them, evolving them. They were becoming more than human. The Watchers GIFD. The Watchers appeared in the sky above Earth, shining like stars come to life. They sent waves of energy that protected cities, healed the wounded, and lifted hope. They whispered secrets of the universe to those willing to listen. Jake felt their power flow through him. We are the bridge, he thought, between what was and what can be. The fall of Korthuk, the final moments of the battle. Jake led a strike team aboard Korthak's massive flagship. The halls were dark and cold. Korthak waited, his red eyes burning. "You think you have won?" he hissed. Jake answered calmly. "We don't think, we know." The battle inside the ship was fierce, fists, blades, and psychic energy clashing. But humanity's new strength was greater. Korthak fell. The Zerzai fleet scattered. A new Galactic with the Zerzai defeated. Earth and its allies rebuilt. New colonies grew on Mars, Europa, and beyond. Humans and Varnaks worked side by side. The Watchers taught them how to explore the stars without fear. Jake stood on the surface of Mars, looking back at Earth. "We were not born to be weak," he said. "We were born to rise." Peace and PRM as in the Great Hall on Earth. Leaders from many worlds gathered. They signed a new pact, the Galactic Peace Accord. "No more shadows," said Alan Parker. "Only light." The countdown that had once threatened destruction was gone. In its place was a new timer, one that measured hope, growth, and life. Final THOUGE. The universe watched. The gods bled. And humanity stood tall. Not as slaves or victims, not as weak or broken, but as something new. Something strong, something ready. The end.